I'm going to start out by giving Coach Lutz and his group a lot of credit, man. They fought hard, and to their credit, they responded when they had to. It would have been easier when we made the run and took the lead and got it into overtime, but they really responded and made the plays. And certainly thinking about Parsa, and my thoughts and prayers are with him. We recruited him a little bit and got to know him and his fiance at the time, wife, and man, what a great kid, what an incredible kid, and he's had an incredible year. He really has had an all Big 12 type of performance, man. So certainly thinking about him and praying for him. You hate to see that. You hate to see that. As far as the game went, I felt like in the first half we just didn't have the level of defensive intensity, necessary. They're a really good offensive team. I felt like we kind of let them get comfortable and get a rhythm going, and just didn't defend at the level necessary for our standard to win. Some of that was Jasper getting a second foul. That hurt us. And then in the second half, I thought we were able to turn the tide defensively, made some big plays. They made some big plays, got it into overtime, and then ultimately they were able to execute better down the stretch than we were and made the plays to win the game.
Questions?
You mentioned defensively turning the tide. Was that an adjustment situation, or was it just executing?
I thought we just did a better job of guarding the ball. I thought their speed and their pace early in the game kind of had us on our heels, and we were able to make some shots early and get some baskets going, and kind of got into that like you score, we score, and that's just not really the identity of our team. And then all of a sudden we kind of stopped scoring, and they were able to continue that. And Jasper, for us, is so important at the point of attack, and his ability to guard the ball and navigate ball screens and keep the ball in front of them. And I thought that was a big difference in the second half. In the first half was his point of attack defense.
Oklahoma State had a couple guys that they don't typically lean on to hit threes, hit a couple shots tonight. Is that, I don't know, did you see anything? Did that surprise you that those guys hit those shots?
Well, I think, what happens typically if you don't come into a game in like a mindset, which we typically have had, that we're really going to make people miss, and you allow a team to find a rhythm offensively, then you almost kind of get what you deserve with some of that stuff because you haven't made it hard on them. Obviously, Miller hitting the bank shot was a big one, and then to Cleary's credit, man, Cleary hit some big-time shots, man. The one in the corner over Lorient was defended about as well as you could. He hit the big step back after that at the top of the key. So, to his credit, he jumped up and made some big threes. Parsa made the big three at the end of regulation when we had the lead again. And, some of it is us allowing them to maybe get comfortable and see the ball go in the hoop early. And then some of it is, to their credit, they jumped up and made plays.
With you guys having Huff and then Kanye, two smaller guards, just sort of what does that say about, you think basketball, you think big guys, just sort of what do you think about the small guards spot in basketball right now?
Yeah, we've, been fortunate to coach some really good small guards through the years. Tyler Perry played for us, and then he ended up playing at Kansas State, and Jason Edwards and Atten Wright last year, and then Honor Huff. And, when you watch the NCAA tournament at the end of the year, it's usually like some little guys running around because it's so hard to get the ball close to the basket, and the physicality and the size. And so it, and teams defend each other at such a good rate, it usually turns into what Cleary did, and Honor has done for us at times. It's like, man, it's pretty good defense, but jumped up and made some tough shots.
Phil Forte is a guy that's thought of very highly around here. Just sort of what impact has he made on your staff?
Yeah, he was the first person that I ever hired when I got the head coaching job at North Texas, and I didn't know Phil. And that's funny. Typically, when you think you get these opportunities, you, in the back of your mind, you just think probably you're going to go with at least somebody you know right away for your first hire. But I had some other people that had worked with Phil, and they raved about him. And then obviously growing up in Texas where I'm from, and just, he's a legend there too, just his work ethic and his commitment and everything that made him a great player has followed him into the coaching ranks. And he'll definitely be a head coach, sooner than later. And he does a tremendous job, and he's so consistent. And he's, again, everything that made him a great player is what makes him a special coach.
You mentioned Parsa a little while ago. How tough is it, do you think, for any coach to have to reset this late in the season? We don't know what's going to happen, but just to have an injury late is part of the game, I understand, but just having to reset things.
Yeah, again, it's heartbreaking, and I even saw the look in our guys' faces. And at that point in time, you saw the genuine concern, in particular from some of our seniors, knowing, how fragile this thing really is. And, it's gut-wrenching, and I wouldn't, it is part of it, and it's unfortunate if you look at like Richie Saunders and what they've had to deal with at BYU. Obviously, I'm close to Coach McCaslin with JT and what they've had to, and you hate to see that. And then, like I said, when you add in and the character of a guy like Parsa and what he's meant to the program this year and really helping get this thing, going, and his passion and his just the person he is, it breaks your heart.